So good morning everyone, welcome to Satsang. Let's make some silence first. So today, let's talk about spiritual philosophies a little bit. Spiritual philosophies, they are more or less coded wisdom. It doesn't matter how much simplified the language is, it is still encoded. All spiritual philosophies more or less tend to show a path from beginning to end. And it could work like this, sometimes it does, but most of the times it doesn't. So this wisdom which is encoded, it is up for the seeker of truth to decode it, to take the best out of each one. But as human beings are dogmatic beings, and the more blind they are, the more dogmatic they become, they tend to take everything and reject the rest. And this, of course, each path facilitates one certain aspects and makes it difficult for other aspects. And usually the seeker tends to choose that which is more easy for him to practice, that which can fit better his world, that which is easier. And like everything in life, when you become mature, then you will need to go through that which is difficult for you. And in this case, in the quest for freedom, it's really a must. Because what's easy for you, yes, it's good and you'll be able to gain something and will prepare you, but it's in that which is difficult for you which lies the biggest knots of your delusion. So we talk about a lot of silence, dissolution, and in this aspect, in this philosophy, that which is connected a lot to Advaita and things like that. Well, it's actually one of the most intense and difficult ones, but these days is being treated like the most easy and available, suitable for all. Of course, in a light way, in naive sense, it can appear to be, but it isn't. So when we talk about dissolution of the structures of the individual, we talked about, and I talk a lot here about taking the food out of the individual's mouth, cutting investments, that which give purpose, meaning, identity, that which feeds your beliefs, your belief systems, and all of this. And this is good, but from a certain point of view, it's like digging a tunnel with a teaspoon. Not in theory, because in theory, it was like using a missile or an atomic bomb to do that tunnel. But in practical terms, many of you are not really ready for that. And the amount of work which is done is very little, because it's not just about engaging in that which dissolves or cuts the food of the individual. It's piercing also through the layers of that individual, of that body-mind complex, piercing through all the layers and breaking these structures. And what I see a lot is the difficulty to understand that you are the center of your universe, to take full responsibility for what you are experiencing and seeing around as a reflection of what you need to see and not exactly what is there. And the absence of this vision makes everything go very slow, very slow. So most of the times when it appears to be going fast, well, usually it's something that still fits into your world of beliefs. And the more spirituality becomes mainstream, the more we will see this phenomenon of seekers being seekers as a way to maintain their illusion. So their quest for truth becomes a part of their illusion. It's what the character is. Oh, I'm a seeker of truth. And then things, well, become difficult. So philosophies, they are not about what is highest, lowest, has nothing to do with that. Gems, pearls, according to need, are in each and every one. Well, now I just remind me that a lot of things have been created newly, and well, the main ones, those who have been tested by time, a lot of time. So being able to pick up the pearls of wisdom, well, that's not really for all. But if you have the vision that there's no absolute path, there's no path which is outside of yourself, and so there's nothing that can guarantee anything. There are pearls of wisdom everywhere. Some you need, others you don't. And it is what's missing which is important. Because, well, sometimes you see certain teachings, they are good for you, but you are taking them at the level that you are. You're not really seeing its depth. And depending from where you come from, it can be easier or more difficult to reach the level of focus, of intensity, which is required for a serious seeker. So there's a philosophy which is quite good, which is quite interesting, which is Raja Yoga. Many of you have heard about it. And I know there's a lot of too much noise about it and too much of distortions, but the philosophy itself is preserved if you can get it from how it was previously, without these modern interpretations. Because some are good, some are not good, some are completely out of the wild. But the Raja Yoga philosophy gives you a vision of the work to be done in yourself. It gives you a clear vision of whatever you're experiencing is a byproduct of what you need to see, of what fits your narrative and your world. It talks about a lot of the functioning of the mind, because if you want to transcend the mind, you need to know how it works. Okay, you can say, oh, but mind is illusion, so I just treat it as so. That is naive comment to say. It is correct, but it is naive because you will not have the level of focus and the level of strength to go beyond that. With that vision, this is for very few. What will happen is you will appear to be going beyond this, but actually you're not. It just fits the narrative. So in Raja Yoga, you have techniques of meditation, you have the understanding of the practice of meditation, you have the understanding of the functioning of the mind, and you have the understanding of the impurities of the mind. Anger, lust, attachment, all. And this is important because as you intensify your meditation, intensify your silence, you will be face to face with your world and your impurities. The character uses this as a way to maintain and enhance his story, his dreams, his nightmares, and all of this, to give meaning to the story. So your normal view of life, your normal functioning, is one aspect of what you call reality, of what you experience as reality. If you achieve an intense amount of focus, or if you practice deep meditation for it, longer sittings of meditation, you will see that your vision starts to change. Previously to intense practice of meditation, then after. And during, the vision changes, your perception changes. Of course, for these changes to happen, a lot of dirt has to come out. But there's a big difference. And this is very important because you're taking what's real by the perceptions you have in normal perceptions. And whatever comes as a blessing or as spiritual experience, it can be powerful, yes, but it only lasts a moment. And at the conscious level, you may say, oh, but this is more close to truth than what I'm experiencing. But that's very superficial because it doesn't have such a deep impact and tends to be forgotten. Your mind forgets what's useful to forget, deconstructs it, takes it the importance. At the end, nothing else is left. So being in that vibration, we can call it a vibration also, that distinguishes a lot from the normal functioning, is very important. Not only will you have a different vision from what is possible for you, but that different vision gives you a feedback much beyond the mental concept that your vision of reality is not absolute. And this is important. So an intense practice of meditation is very important for those who are looking for dissolution. And then, in certain periods, this has to be increased. So if, for example, if you have 5 hours of daily sitting, for example, there are some moments, sometimes then you should go to 10 hours through a period, and then coming back again for the 5 hours. One prepares the other, and so on. And in these intense periods of meditation, you'll be facing intensely the obstacles of your own world. You will be able to see that, yes, I want it a lot, but there's a part of me that I still identify that really doesn't want it. And the more you can see these periods, of course, they have a lot of implications besides this, but this is important. Because you're convinced that arriving somewhere at some level, well, that's it, and that's what you want. But you will only have a chance when you understand, when you have the clear vision that you really don't want. This is what it means, that you're the obstacle. Because many of you are doing and practicing and searching because you want, because you believe you want, and you engage in something. When it is child's play, you can be there for years. But when things become serious, the same thing that tells you, no, I want this, will tell you, I don't want this. And then you imagine that it is what you're doing that is wrong. Well, it can be, sometimes it can be, but most of the times it isn't. It's about defending the character. So as you do these deep dives, it will be clear for you the amount of resistance that you have. Because a 10-hour meditation retreat, for example, for several days at least, you'll be facing the real obstacles of your practice. It will become visible for you. And that amount of focus will give you a wider vision beyond your world. So a lot of things that you believed it is like this, you will see it isn't. But you'll defend against this. And you'll be able to see where the real obstacles lie. And in these intense periods of work, if you're not aware that what you're seeing from the world is what you need to see to sustain your script, then you will just continue to find excuses, outer problems, outer situations that will just be interpreted in a way that fits your narrative. So the kind of lifestyle that seekers have, at least these days, especially here in the West, it's just a normal life. Without any practice, just with theoretical study, makes no difference. If you don't believe, well, just test it for a while. Just compromise. Okay, so I'll do 5 hours meditation a day for 2 months, for example. Then I will do a period of 10 days, 10 hours meditation. Let's see what happens. You'll be surprised. For sure, you'll be surprised. What is easy for you, what appears to be easy for you, it's not the most important part. What is difficult for you, this is much more important. For your quest to be alive, to be real, it is important for you to maintain a higher vibration. And understanding that whatever you're experiencing in your life is what you need to see to sustain whatever is your illusion. With its good parts and bad parts, everything is included in the package. Everything is vital, important. So the practice of intense meditation and the vision of the dissolution of the character, meditation for dissolution purpose, meditation for abstracting from investments, meditation not to arrive somewhere, but for dissolution. That is very good. Because, well, you have the teachings of meditation, all of this, but then you have the stages and the paths and the levels that you achieve. All this, well, builds something in the mind that it's not quite healthy. All teachings, all spiritual teachings, they will take you to humbleness and silence. If you haven't understood that part of the teaching, haven't seen that, you haven't reached its end. Okay. So why it will raise unnecessary fear in mind and heart when failure we faced? Well, whenever circumstantial happiness is pursued, that is the mechanics of it, it involves a lot of things. I will answer only in the context of the quest for truth, because if these kinds of failures, they are about other circumstances, well, there's no point talking about it. But in the quest for truth, if by any chance fears arise in the mind when there is failure or the possibility of failure, well, that means that whatever is there to be achieved, whatever you're trying to achieve, it's being tried by the wrong reasons. And it is about circumstantial happiness. It is about searching your self-value through the practices or through whatever you're investing. And in a worldly point of view, in a worldly investment, what means and a worldly investment, understand this, worldly investment, it doesn't mean just an investment that is not connected to spirituality. It's an investment that is made by the wrong reasons, including spirituality, including spiritual practices. So those who are into spiritual practices and they are practicing to solve the problems of the personality, to arrive at the point that they are always happy and blissful, because, well, other people, they like happy people. Nobody likes a sad person. And if they become a happy person, then they will be accepted, loved, esteemed by others, appreciated. And if they become wise, they will be revered or whatever. So it means that it is for the wrong reasons. It is, in a way, to enhance your beliefs, to confirm your beliefs, and not about dissolution. And that fear immediately reveals to you the real motivations behind your investments, and it is opportunity to correct them. Because the more worldly is your life, the more distance you are from happiness, from the source of happiness, from self-realization. Everybody says that whatever they're doing, well, they're just trying to be happy. Are they? And this is a habit which is very important to have, to observe the thoughts that you call your thoughts. They are not your thoughts. When you try to dissociate from them, they will persist, they will continue there. The difference is sometimes you embrace them as your own, other times you try to be apart from them. But observing the thoughts that arise there, it is very important. The reasonings, and trying to see where is this trying to go. And as I'm still identified with this, what do I really want behind these investments? What is the quest? And then there's what you already know about the quest for truth. And then you see if they go together. And if you have a little bit of clarity, you will see that they don't. So fears, anxieties, the biggest message they give you is you're still investing in circumstantial happiness. They are still hopes for some achievement. And this is maintaining and enhancing your illusion slash suffering. Sometimes the seeker of truth needs to find failure because he needs to correct himself and find redemption. But that's only in his context, small context. Because in the bigger context, the thing is, you need to persist. Either you persist or you don't. And by persisting, it means you fall down, you get up, you fall down, you get up, and you continue and you continue and you continue. Okay, Ashok. How to overcome from losing parents, I mean the death of parents. Well, if your life is motivated by worldly achievements, it's inevitable that you will be entangled in suffering. It's inevitable. That's for everybody. It doesn't matter if it's this kind of suffering, that kind of suffering, it is bound to happen. If you're really understanding that suffering is not what you want and freedom is that what you're seeking, then using your time has to be something much more constructive. And understanding the, how do you say this? The transient nature of whatever is experienced is a must. You have nothing, you'll take nothing. This is journey. People are encountered and then everybody follows their path. If there was love in that encounter, honor it. But understand that souls are moving into their quest for freedom, into their trying to reach the source again, to go back to the source again. So your parents, or the parents of that body, the children of that body, they have their own destiny, their own journey, and the experiences that they need. Honor it and move on. Make the best use of your time. There's just suffering. There's not this kind of suffering, that kind of suffering. There is just suffering, the level of suffering which touches you. People tend to look at life and, oh, I'm suffering because of this, so I have to solve this. That's not correct. That's not a problem. The outlook and the use that you are making with your time, that is probably the problem. So if your parents have gone, wish them good luck, and may they find the best and the highest for their spiritual evolution. And you by yourself, honor the biggest present they have given you, which is that life and this moment and this opportunity, and the love you have received for that journey. The love and the rest also, because everything is important. Make the best use of your time. Muito bem. Podes. So, peraí. Next satsang will be Saturday, 9 a.m. in the morning, Brazilian time UTC -3. Until then, well, like I said previously, make the best use of your time. Agora sim, podes.